Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV for the 7th season of the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup. The next round of the championship going to the streets of virtual Detroit here at the Belle circuit. This is a round I've been looking forward to for quite some time. Always love a race at Belle. Puts up an excellent race every single time we go here. Walls are close, the curbs are high, and the track is incredibly bumpy with a mixture of concrete and asphalt ready for the drivers to tackle. To bring it to you all live across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch is myself, Reese Gardner. Ross Rizzo having some technical issues at the moment. Hopefully we can say hello to him soon, but for now it is Jay Kennedy joining me in the commentary box, and Jay is handling production behind the scenes as well. Well, Jay, I can't say anything more that I've already said. Belle, what a track, what a round of the championship this is going to be.
Yeah, the walls are super close and it's going to bring a lot of action throughout the night. Hello everybody, this is going to be loads of fun. Safety car probability, extreme. I'm going to say it's close to 100% chance that we're going to see safety cars at some point tonight, because at some point throughout the racing, someone's not going to make it through. Fingers crossed we don't see any, but there's a high chance. We zoom on in to Detroit, extremely close to the Canadian border, and this island, which now sadly no longer hosts racing in the real world. Very, very iconic track within sports car and open wheel communities.
Yeah, indeed. The Belle circuit's been holding races since the late 90s and or since the early 80s, I should probably say. And yeah, I think it is a real shame that this circuit has been abandoned for one in downtown Detroit, because there's a great variety of corners at this track. It goes through a public park, a couple of long straights for some good overtaking opportunities at turns 3 and turn 7, and turns 4, 5, and 6 is one of my favorite sequences of street circuit corners ever, not to mention the whole stretch from turn 8 to turn 11. You've really got to put faith in the mechanical grip of your machine and be very careful on the brake pedal, because one lock-up here can spell disaster.
Exactly right. It's very similar in some aspects to the likes of Adelaide and things like that, but a little bit different because of the off-camber components of the corner, especially turn 4, and then turn 5, not quite the full 90 degrees, and turn 6, almost a real bizarre blind entry. So it's really, really cool complex of corners, and then 7 through 11, that will sort lots of people out. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Indeed it is. This is going to be a very interesting round of the championship as we look at the standings going into this round. Bo Albert, the dominant driver of this season so far, but Josh Thomas, in second place in the standings, managed to break Bo's victory streak at the last round at Jerez. So he is closer to Albert than anyone else right now. But still, that's an incredible points margin that Bo Albert has, 489 points ahead of everybody else. So it's going to be difficult to catch him up, even at this sort of mid-stage of the season. In the Pro-Am, Tyson Broad and Sean Linsell have a much closer fight on their hands, and Corey Lazarus could be a factor as well later on in the season if he has a good stretch of rounds. And in the Pro-Am standings, well, it's the Steve Tonkin show right now. He's currently dominant there too, Jay.
Yeah, so the third of our class is the M class. It's Steve Tonkin leading the way from David Clark and Stefan Lawrence, but it's still relatively early. I mean, we're halfway through the season, so there's still a little bit to go. This is the current qualifying standings. Ryan Jones, Ben Johnson, not much separating those guys in the first group of qualifying. So it's going to be an interesting qualifying session. The cars have just come out for Group 1. The track is extremely cool.
Yeah, it absolutely is. 25-degree air temperature. It's a 29-degree track temperature. And it's not as cool as we have seen in other races in the past week or so here at SimSpeed, but it's still a lot cooler than some drivers would want. It's going to take a while for the tyres to get up to temperature here, especially in what looks like pretty overcast conditions out there. We see some patches of blue sky, but the track is not quite bathed in sunlight at the moment. The second group of qualifying is out and ready to go. Bo Albert putting himself 131.6, and that's currently good enough for 5th overall, but we can expect him to be a lot faster than that. He ran a 1:29 in practice.
Yeah, and track conditions were probably a slight little bit warmer at that point too, so expect the 29 bracket to potentially get broken into during this session. Most drivers have said that the first flying lap definitely not the best lap out there, and the second, maybe even third flying lap will be the lap to watch out on track.
Well, to the 4, 5, 6 sequence goes Hayden Veld as we check out Simon Mazzomo, currently second in the Pro-Am standings, 10th overall. And very difficult braking zone here into turn 7 and a huge curb on the inside. Difficult to get the line right through there, but you have to get a good exit to gain a little bit of momentum on the way to turn 8, and then this double apex of 9 and 10. You can effectively treat it as one corner, but you can't afford to accelerate it all through there. You've got to slow down for that turn 11 hairpin that Mazzomo just went through, and it is very bumpy on the exit. Difficult to put the power down in cars like this that don't have traction control.
This track itself is very, very slick anyway, so, you know, going through those corners that are off camber and are very, very difficult on the throttle, you've got to really gently get your way through. As Albert went to P1, and then Corey Lazarus quickly eclipsed him. Mazzomo straight into second, first in pro. So, interesting little grouping at the top of the timesheets at the moment.
Yes, I erroneously called Mazzomo a Pro-Am driver because apparently I still live in last year. Yeah, it's interesting to see as Dylan Shepherd also goes quickly that the Pro-Am drivers have been able to really stick it to the pros this round. We were talking off the air before we went live about how the top 10 in practice was dominated by Pro-Am drivers.
It was really interesting to see. This is the results from practice. So Albert was in the 29.9s, but within the top 9, there's 5 Pro-Am drivers and only 4 Pro drivers. So top 10 is split 50-50, but take Wayne Burke away and you use that top 9. It's interesting that that is how it's played out. So expect a pretty mixed up group of results here tonight, which one thing it could do is a huge points haul for someone in the Pro-Am class. If they can break away, they might be able to find themselves in a really good position as Mikey Hownick goes P1.
Great run from Mikey Howanich, and I think a great run from a lot of drivers here. Belle Albert has struggled to put a time down, and just as I say that, he goes P1, but Corey Lazarus immediately responds again there to go to P1. 1 minute 30.5 is now the pace to be set, and it looks like Lazarus and the rest of the Pro-Am class will be having a good night tonight if they can keep it together. We have to think in about 10 minutes' time about how lap 1's going to go, because it never goes smoothly for everybody at a street circuit.
100% it doesn't go smoothly at all. I don't think we've seen lap 1 at this track ever go smooth or to plan, but fingers crossed these guys tonight can do something a little bit outside the norm and we see a fairly smooth start to the race. But look, I'm not too hopeful that I'm hopeful that it's the case, but I don't think it will be the case. I think we're going to see a bit of carnage throughout the night. As I said earlier, high probability of safety cars throughout tonight. We'll see how it plays out though. Fingers crossed we don't end up seeing any, but there is a fairly good probability that we.
Good improvement from Josh Van Treek. He just come across the line to go up to P19. Looked like a gain of about 10 positions as Howanich goes faster as well. Up to P3 now. Still Bo Albert leading the pro class. Not by much though, only a couple tenths ahead. And Thomas Hinz also looking pretty quick this round. Let's see what he can do from 8th in the pro class. And it's currently down the order a bit overall, but still plenty to be done around here. He's got the big concentration face on and coming up to the last two proper corners around here. There's no runoff at this section of the track and you're almost flat. Got to just lift through that final right-hander towards the flat-out run to the line. Very challenging part of the circuit. 1 minute 31.0 there for Thomas Hinz. That is a huge improvement. Goes up to 5th overall and 4th in the pro class. Nice lap there from Hinzy. Can he improve on it?
In purple first sector for Hayden Veld. So Veld, who before the night started was complaining that he was so off the pace he might not even race, is now put in purple first sector, and this is looking very, very good to start this lap.
Yeah, using all the width of the track on the way out onto the back stretch. You would call it a back straight, but it is not straight at all. It's actually quite wavy on the way down to turn 7. Gets on the brakes. It's a curve braking zone into that corner, but a little bit of understeer, it looks like, through turn 7, and that's the last thing you want through there. I think this lap might be done from here.
On the live sectors, micro sectors, off some side, whether he's still going. Lost about 0.4 of a second there, so I'm guessing you're right. I think he's gonna end the lap there and go for another attempt. Still plenty of time left in the session, so there's lots of chances still to get back out there and maybe improve, go faster again. But yeah, 0.3 in the end off his fastest lap. So bit of a case of what might have been. If he hadn't have lost those 0.4, he definitely would have gained a few spots. Zach Kerr goes up to 12th.
Good job from Zach Kerr. And well, at the moment, it does look like the pro class drivers have the measure in the top 10, but Corey Lazarus still on top. No one else has been quite able to match him in the qualifying session, but I have seen Bo Albert just ahead of Corey McFarlane here, gearing up for another attempt at a hot lap. So we'll see the end of this lap for McFarlane as he catches a little bit of slipstream on the way down to these final two, I'd say, proper right-handers, because this final turn is just a meander onto the start-finish straight, which isn't very long, honestly. You don't have much time to prepare for turn 1 from here. You're almost instantly on the brakes. 131.6 for McFarlane, and that is an 8-position gain there to 17th overall. But we check out the privateer, Bo Albert. Very quick driver, as that's a big improvement from Gordon Ramsay. He goes up to 10th spot. Massive gain there from Mr. Ramsay. But we'll stay with Bo Albert for this one. How's the exit onto the back stretch? It looks pretty clean, and sectors are looking good too. You told me before we went live, Jay, that if you run a 29 in Sector 1, you're on for a good lap.
With the micro sectors, he's purple both first and second sector, which gives us the combined Sector 1 on the overlays. Sector 2 on the overlays, which is Sector 3 within the sim, just been purple by Corey Lazarus. So Lazarus still going quick here too. So we may not see a pole here from Albert. And if we do, it may be eclipsed by Lazarus straight away. It's just in the background.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we'll see this in quick succession here. Clean run from Bo Albert through the first of our right-handers. How's the second one go? Yeah, barely any protestations from the car at all. He's nice and smooth, but oh, it looked like Lazarus might have tapped the wall in the background there. To the line for Bo Albert, 1 minute 30.0, new quickest lap there. How does Lazarus respond? Doesn't look like he's... Oh, yeah, personal best.
It was a personal best, but it didn't count in the end, so he's obviously hit the wall. He did a 1 minute 30.4, which would have gained him an extra 10th over his previous best.
Another big improvement, this time from Corey McFarlane. He goes from 19th up to 8th. Really awesome job there. Looks like Wayne Burke has managed to improve quite well too. He's gotten into P3 overall. This is a decidedly more mixed up qualifying session than we've seen in the past here, at least in 2023, is Stuart Ellis with a massive improvement up to 8th spot. Looked like he was down just inside the top 20 when I last looked at him. That is big congratulations there to Stuart Ellis, and it looked like
pretty
it was
relaxed too.
Yeah, seems pretty comfortable around here
right
at
on
Belle
cue.
Isle. Yeah.
It's a double commentator's curse, talking him up, saying that he's doing well and looking smooth, and then he looks stressed and nearly puts it in the wall.
Well, easy to get some oversteer through turn 3. A big curb on the inside that can unsettle the car. Mazzomo improving to 11th in the meantime as Corey Lazarus is coming up to the end of this next lap. And I don't know, that might have been another 0x that we just saw, that little puff of dust next to the wall. Of course, latency might have something to do with that, but we'll wait for the run to the line to see if this lap counts. 1 minute 30.138. That is an improvement, but Bo Albert just ahead of him improved as well into the 29s for the first time in the session.
Great laps from both of those guys there. That's an incredible bit of pace from both of those drivers as McFarlane crosses the line, improves, but won't gain a spot. So lots of times shuffling on the timing screen at the moment. Aiden Coot at the moment looks like he's on a decent lap here.
All over the curbs coming into turn 9 and 10. And through turn 11, oh, he's a bit wide of the apex, but puts the power down. He's going to be pressured from behind here. Yeah, he's going to have to pull over to let, I believe that's Hayden Veld or Wayne Burke go. Yeah, it looks like Hayden Veld. But Dylan Shepherd now we check out. He's currently in 4th overall. Not a bad run. It looks like he might have backed off through this section, so we won't see an improvement from Shepherd this time around, but still got about, I'd say, 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to set a lap when he crosses the line next. Don't forget, it's the heat format that we're running tonight with 2 35-minute races, so you will have to start your lap with at least 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining in the session if you want it to count. Oh, that was big from Sam Sproul.
Done as well. He won't have time to get back around either, I don't believe. So that's his session done. Yeah, probably wouldn't have been able to make it around and get another lap in. Continued. Stuart Ellis still looking pretty decent at the moment. Currently 10th, 5th of the cars in the Pro-Am class. I are curious about the colours that the drivers' numbers and names are showing up with. The orange drivers are our Pro drivers, Pro-Am in the fluorescent day-glow yellow, and the pink are Am drivers, and they double up on the windscreen, sticker on the rear, and also on the wing end plates on the rear splitter, on the rear wing. Ellis improves again.
He does indeed. Puts Sean Linsell out of the top 10 as, well, he finds the tyre barriers, and that's going to be the end of his session. There was also a big improvement for Kobe Williams. He's worked his way up to 13th place from 25th. So right at the end of the session, we're seeing some big improvements from certain drivers. Albert currently in the middle of a lap, and that was huge over the curb at turn 7. Did that even count? I think he might have just gotten away with it there, but a little bit of instability that he wouldn't have wanted.
Yeah, it didn't look completely smooth there, did it? Didn't look completely under control, but I think there's a little bit of on the limit is what you need to get pace out of this car. I must say, Ben Pedersen, that's MVP for me in this session. P3
Yeah.
overall. When you look at the names that he's out-qualified, Shepherd just goes into 4th outright, 2nd in class. But, wow, that's a brilliant effort. Albert will cross the line and improve again by 12 thousandths of a second. Doesn't matter by how much, as long as it's an improvement.
Yeah, and Corey Lazarus isn't going to threaten him. His session's already over. Looks like Ben Pedersen is done with his runs as well, as Kobe Williams completes one final lap. Does not improve on that final run, though. Tyson Broad, meanwhile, 10th place at the moment, and it looks like he's not going to improve on that. And, well, that will be part of the story. He is almost destroyed that car in the barriers at the end of his run, and with 5 seconds to go, Alan Dawson might just scrape across the line here. 131.9. Oh yeah, he does improve there at the end of the session. Well, that means we can go through the grid for our first race here at Belle Isle, as Bo Albert starts on pole position alongside a fantastic performance from our Pro-Am champ leader Corey Lazarus. That will benefit him massively in his battle with Sean Linsell, who starts 9th. Peterson and Shepherd will be on row 2, with Wayne Burke and Corey McFarlane sharing the 3rd row. In 7th place, it's going to be Mikey Howanich, starting alongside the number 52 of Thomas Hins, and with Sam Sproul in 9th place, and Stuart Ellis rounding out the top 10. My apologies. Sean Linsell starts just outside it.
Very close, though. He's only a little bit away from that 10th place. In 11th, with Zomo in 12th position. From there, we go back. Kobe Williams probably a little disappointed with his qualifying effort in 13th. Zach Kerr in 14th position. Got Gordon Ramsay in 15th, Hayden Veld in 16th, a little way back as well. Joshua Van Treek and Ryan Jones 17th and 18th. Back to the end of the top 20, Ben Johnson and Stefan Lawrence.
Starting just behind them is going to be Tyson Broad, with David Clark keeping him company on row 11, with Tyson Hanma sharing his row with Steve Tonkin, the AM Class Championship leader. Aidan Coote and Alan Dawson share 25th and 26th positions, with 27th and 28th taken up by Josh Lane and Martin Lofthouse, who led Group 1 qualifying early on. Tim Betts and Isaac Edwards round out the top 30, and then our final car on the grid is going to be Patrick Harding, with Dan Yeaman and Matthew Kefford in the session as our race admins, stewards, and safety car drivers if they're needed, and I'd hazard a guess that they would be, considering that this is a street circuit where there is no margin for error, and a bunch of angry Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, 31 to be exact, through a circuit like this will be mighty difficult. The timer hits 0 and everyone is on the grid. Revs rise and we get ready to start the first of our 35-minute races tonight. We're away. Little puff of smoke from Bo Albert, but he gets a good start. Really good jump from Ben Peterson. He's going to pressure Corey Lazarus into turn 1, gets the inside for turn 2. That is Peterson up into 2nd overall and leading the Pro-Am class. But Lazarus gets a better exit around the outside. A big run from Dylan Shepherd as there's a massive crash in the back of the field. That's Hayden Veld on his roof. Looks like the majority of drivers have avoided that one, but there's been a coming together between Van Treek, Jones, and Lawrence as well. I think we might see a safety car from this one because Hayden Veld is still on his side. There's positions lost meanwhile for Ben Peterson as they work their way through turns 4, 5 and 6. Wayne Burke getting a massive run around the outside and the safety car has been called.
And I think that's something that surprises absolutely nobody, that a safety car's been called there. That was heavy impact into the wall. Ryan Jones and Joshua Van Treek also got involved in that incident, so we'll pick up some replays in just a moment. But yeah, that's unfortunate way for the race to start. I don't think we're surprised that we've seen one. I don't think we're surprised where the incident come from, but let's see how it happened though.
Indeed, let's. I think this is going to be quite messy coming out of turn 2. It's a spot where we usually see lap 1 shenanigans happening at Belle Isle. So Veld on the outside of turn 2. Got a good run, but I don't know. I'd hazard a guess that Hayden Veld did that to himself. Tried to keep it away from the wall, but didn't realize that there was a car understeering alongside him, and he did have space to keep it in there.
I've seen Sean Linsell spin
Oh,
under safety car. So we'll pick up another look at that. But there's 2 cars that are stopped from that. Actually just got a message under safety car from Ryan Jones saying my steering. So if we can work out how bad it is.
yeah. All right, so here's the onboard from Jones. He was one of the cars involved in the lap 1 pile-up, and there's the incident for Veld ahead, and, well, Jones had absolutely nowhere to go, and then spinning in front of him as well. Who was that? Yeah, Van Treek. So, no doubt, plenty of damage for Ryan Jones from that, and his steering will undoubtedly be very wonky as he struggles to get it back going. Well, you see Van Treek crabbing as well. He tried to continue on, but it looks like he's stopped on the circuit. And we see in the background Hayden Veld on his side. That's a real shame for both of them. Shame, too, for Sean Linsell, who, we mentioned, spun under safety car. And we don't really need a replay for this, but I can tell you that Sean just spun it up coming out of the turn 11 hairpin. Just a bit too aggressive on the throttle.
That's something some drivers will do under safety car, is just try and get a little bit of heat into the tyres, especially early on in a race. So that sort of stuff can happen. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it, Reese. I'm sure everyone that's watching has done it at some point. A little embarrassing to start with, but you'll probably be a little bit upset that that has happened.
Yeah, losing a couple of positions out of that, but I think under safety car rules, he might be able to file back into the position he was before he spun. Don't quote me on that, though. As we now have a couple of laps to take a breather. Let's see who has gained in terms of position. Well, Dylan Shepherd from 4th up to 3rd. And then Wayne Burke gaining a spot from 5th to 4th. And that's due to Ben Peterson losing 2 spots into the first corners. But Aidan Coote has had a pretty good run so far. Johnson, Broad and Dawson all up 3. Lofthouse gaining 2 and David Clark gaining 1. So that's how things stand here.
We were talking earlier about the championship standings in Pro-Am and how tight they were. It was 22 points coming into this race. So at the moment it's sitting at 28. Look at the difference. Corey Lazarus has got himself right into the championship fight. If he can stay in this spot, that's a huge championship swing. You look at where Tyson Broad is in this race. He's way back in P16. So that's huge if he can gain that amount of points in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be excellent for Lazarus, but all he has to do from here is keep it out of the walls, which is easier said than done around here. A little bit of sunlight hitting the racetrack for the first time tonight.
That makes the graphic actually show up properly.
Excellent. There we go. So still close between Broad and Linsell, but yeah, Lazarus coming all the way up to 51 points behind Tyson Broad. That will be huge. It's always rounds like this where drivers stand to gain the most. And in the pro standings, well, looks like Bo Albert at the moment will be increasing his championship margin over Josh Thomas, who is not present here tonight.
Wayne Burke gaining a bit of ground there on Zach Kerr at the present stage. Remember, this is live as well, so this could change and change very, very quickly throughout the night. So we'll bring them out throughout the evening, and we'll get a bit of a look-see throughout the event. In the Pro-Am standings, Steve Tonkin still ahead, but has lost a little bit of ground to David Clark at this stage. Clark 2 positions ahead on track, but said lots can change within the next little bit.
Yeah, well, and it's only going to be a little bit before the safety car pulls into the pit lane. We've already gotten the message from race control that the safety car is in this lap. So now the field is under the control of Bo Albert, and everyone will bunch up through these last couple of turns. Albert, being the leader, will control when the start actually happens, but obviously no passing allowed until after you cross the start-finish line. So Corey Lazarus has to be right on the money.
Oh, Burke trying to go early.
This. Oh, he did, but Bo Albert getting a massive advantage over everyone else as the green flag flies, and we are back to racing on lap 4. We've got 20 laps scheduled for this one, or 35 minutes, whichever comes first. I get the feeling that it'll be up in the air as to whether or not we go time certain as Ben Peterson tries to warm up his tyres here, and Corey Lazarus ahead defending from Dylan Shepherd, who tries round the outside at turn 4. He's given a bit of room by Lazarus, but the move is not successful. It's going to be difficult for him to attempt to pass in this section of the track.
Also saw Corey McFarlane trying to get through on Ben Peterson, but couldn't quite get it done. So a little bit of shuffling going on.
Oh, it's Shepherd. Hit the wall on the inside of turn 6.
Wow. That's huge. He's lost so much momentum. Is there damage to the car? There's no mechanical black flag at this stage, but he's going to lose out big time. Here comes McFarlane to go through. Little puff of smoke as Ben Peterson may have just clipped the wall. We've made it through somehow. Dylan Shepherd can still drive on. There's no way that that would normally allow you to continue on. There'd be so much damage to the front of the car. Shepherd may have got away with that.
Oh, a little lock up into turn 11, though. That lets McFarlane up the inside for the next corner, but he's not quite alongside. Has to yield on the way into the last two right-handers. I think Shepherd, it looked like he did hit the wall pretty heavily on the inside of turn 6, but he might have gotten it in the door, so perhaps the suspension has escaped any damage.
Lucky if he's got away with that, to be perfectly honest. I think you and I both cringe and know that it's quite easy for that sort of incident to end in horrendous damage.
Well, Shepherd's going to have to go defensive versus McFarlane into turn 4 here. Now, not a great run off the exit of turn 2. He keeps the position and McFarlane has to back it up for another run. Shepherd gets onto the grass and up comes McFarlane up the inside into turn 4.
There is a little bit of steering damage, a tiny little bit of right-hand damage, maybe 5, 6, 7%, but it's not a huge amount. But I tell you what, that wouldn't have helped the suspension.
No, certainly wouldn't have. Going over those bumps, car got unstable, and now Shepherd offline on the exit. He's going to have to look over his shoulder because here comes Mikey Howanich in the number 69. Shepherd going defensive, and this is the line to be on if you want to take turn 7 properly. But Shepherd makes contact with McFarlane and drives him into the tyre bundles. Corey McFarlane at a standstill. He's going to have to wait for the whole field to go by here before he can get things going again.
I was worried that Josh Lane, running a little bit offline, was going to make contact, but gets away with it, thankfully. I'm sure that Race Control will be looking into that one, though.
Yeah, from my perspective, it did look like, Shepherd, he was offline and went a little deep into turn 7, made rear-end contact with McFarlane, but I don't know. It's sort of difficult to predict whether or not McFarlane would have made the corner with how tight he was on entry 2. So there's going to be some work for Race Control to do from that one, as now looks like Wayne Burke. Yeah, he's made his way up into 2nd overall. But Corey Lazarus still leads the Pro-Am class, and he has a good margin over Ben Peterson.
One thing to remember in regards to the point structure, so every driver in their class is scored based on their overall positions and gets the points for their overall position score. Then they're put into their own championship tally against the other drivers of the same class. So fighting for position within class is still very, very important. Got a decision for Race Control, and car number 18 is Tyson Hamner. 10-second penalty for contact with car number 93. That's Patrick Harding.
Well, evidently they had a coming together at the back of the field, and Patrick Harding doesn't seem too damaged, but we have a look at Hanmer there, and he does indeed have quite a bit of damage around that car, and that was on the green flag lap. I'm going to double check here what the deal was. So
Stuart Ellis is in trouble here.
Yes, he is. That's unfortunate there for Ellis, not having a great run. I've just gone back and checked the incident between Harding and Hanmer, and I'm sorry if I've misidentified the yellow car there. It does look like Hanmer, picking up the throttle, went into Harding on the exit of turn 2, and Harding, I think, a bit ginger on the throttle, but regardless, it was still rear-end contact that took him out, and so Hanmer gets the blame for it.
Very wide coming into turn 3 here. A little bit of damage to the front of Kobe Williams' car. He's actually got a mechanical black flag. But Kobe Williams is going to have to come into the pits here over the next little bit to get damage fixed. completely torn out the front of that car. I'm just trying to see if we can pick up a replay as to how that has happened. I can tell you how it's happened at turn 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've just seen it myself. That is pretty massive there from Kobe Williams. We see him come into turn 1 and then turn left, but there was understeer on the exit and bam, right into the wall. And these cars can be quite sensitive to side-on impacts like that. No surprise to see that the mechanical black flag has come out for him, but he's still right in the midst of a pack of cars, as we see passing further back here. Oh, dear, that's...
Unfortunate one. Apologies for cutting you off there, Rex.
No worries. That's quite all right. There's been quite a bit of drama here off this restart, but opposite of drama for Bo Albert as Kobe Williams goes into the pit lane to get that damage repaired, and we'll see if he makes another appearance later on in the race, but who knows how long that damage is going to take to fix. Wayne Burke in second place, and he's got 2 seconds to make up.
Oh,
If
no.
he wants any chance of catching Bo Albert, who's that in the wall?
It's that Simon Mazzomo. Yes.
Oh, no. That's right on the exit of turn 2. That's a bit of a scary spot. That is quite scary, but seems the majority of drivers being aware here of...
Could have another safety car here.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Looks like Kobe Williams just passed him there. He's made his way back out on track. A nice quick repair there.
Oh.
Mazzomo, oh, there were plenty of issues for him, it seems. Oh, no.
Watched here the Hamner that comes through here. Next group of cars. Watch there.
Yeah,
Oh, that is so close.
That's way too close for comfort.
Safety car's been called.
It has, yes. How on earth did that start for Mazzomo? It looks like he just locked up on the way into turn 1. He ultimately did that to himself initially, and then Tyson Broad came through, and as Mazzomo was continuing to understeer through turn 2, Broad clipped him going round the outside. That's a little bit awkward between the two drivers who battled for the Pro-Am title last season.
So, see if we can get a look at this. This is on board with Gordon Ramsay. So just ahead is Mazzomo. It's just understeered into the wall here. So the front of the car is fairly heavily damaged. Then can't steer the car, makes heavy contact with Broad. Broad's lucky to get away with it. But, unfortunately, there for Mazzomo. He's put in a lot of practice this week too, so I know that he'll be really disappointed with that, but still another race that he can come back and fight in.
Yeah, absolutely. But he'll have to start from quite some ways back because the grid for race 2 is set by the finishing results of race 1. Well, another opportunity for a breather for some of these drivers because the corners come thick and fast at this racetrack. And this gives another slight opportunity for drivers like Wayne Burke to try and pressure Bo Albert for the lead, but we saw how early Albert went on the first restart. He has the advantage around here, and he's been so consistent. He's been able to keep it out of the walls as well. Oh no, looks like there's been big trouble for our AM Class Championship leader, Stephen Tonkin. His connection has dropped. He's out. Internet issues.
Yeah. Never a good sign when you have technical issues and end up out of the race. Look at what this has already done. That championship in AM. As it is right now, Tonkin could still lose a couple more positions, depending on drivers can make it back out. Van Treek has made it back out on track. So he could drop down a little bit more, and of course he's going to start at the back of the field for the next one. So Pro-Am's not settled.
No, certainly not. Well,
sorry, AM's not settled.
Yes. David Clark within 100 points as things stand. It looks like Tonkin's managed to reconnect to the server, so hopefully we'll be able to see him back out on track to get a few more laps in and cover enough distance to get classified in the points.
One thing I was just about to say, I think we're both getting our breath back at the same time there. One thing I think is important to note is Wayne Burke did try and time that restart, and I think he timed it pretty well, but he couldn't go anywhere because he had Lazarus and at that time too Dylan Shepherd ahead of him, and he couldn't go anywhere because, of course, no overtaking until the start-finish line. I think this time he might be in a bit better spot to potentially challenge Belle Albert here at the start of this, at the restart here. I don't think this is going to be a smooth sailing this time around for Albert, because Wayne Burke will be a little bit more cagey when it comes to timing that that restart and the restart zone here for Albert.
Indeed he will. But the issue is there's little, if any, warning as to when Belle Albert's going to put the power down. So Burke has to have the mentality of a drag racer, I think. You know, try and get the jump, realize when it's go time, and react accordingly. Safety car in this lap already pulled away from the field, and now they can make their way through this slow final section of the lap to make their way to the start-finish line and get things going, as it seems we will go time certain to the finish from this one.
We're right on the border, so we're on the 10th lap, and we are just past the halfway point in regards to time. So
10 laps will take about 15 minutes to complete.
As long as we stay green. Get another safety car, I think we're time certain. It's going to be very, very close though.
All depends on the pace on the first lap as well. So Albert now just about to enter the restart zone here, and you see how close Wayne Burke is. He wants to try and nab a win this season. We'll check him on board for the restart, and look at him go. This is a bit of a Max Verstappen tactic here. Albert gets the jump, but Wayne Burke managing to stay in touch as they make their way across the start-finish line. I'll clarify, Max Verstappen before the rules were changed in Formula One. Looks like the Pro-Am battle is on here as Corey Lazarus and Ben Peterson are fighting hard. And, oh dear, Dylan Shepherd's going to disrupt this fight in his Pro Class car. Let's get this done on the way down into the corner. It looks like he's managed to do it all right here as Dylan Shepherd, but he now splits both Corey Lazarus and Ben Peterson. Corey McFarlane also making up a position on David Clark as the field makes their way through this sort of medium speed but very tough section of the circuit. Out onto the back stretch now, and it seems that not many drivers have suffered issues, but our top two are incredibly close. Look at how much Wayne Burke has managed to pressure him, and he's so late on the brakes. Manages to pull it up on the entry into turn 7, though. Albert is under pressure.
Definitely feeling the pressure, isn't he? He felt it last round as well at Jerez, and now feeling it here at Belle Isle. And, oh, there's been an incident back in the field. Something's happened between Stefan Lawrence, who's facing the wrong way. Josh Lane also slow now too, so...
Oh, he stopped.
Stopped and in an awkward position here. If he can't get the car going, we could see another safety car here. So Wayne Burke needs to make the move very quickly if he's going to try and get this done.
Yes. Well, that incident was caused by Lane, unfortunately... running wide through turn 7 and hitting the tyre bundle, and Stefan Lawrence had nowhere to go, and it caused a little bit of a pile-up as well. It seems like Ryan Jones was involved in that as well when Stefan Lawrence spun around. Here is the view looking at Josh Lane, and you'll notice coming into turn 7, car offline on the way into that corner. He couldn't quite see where he was going, and oh dear. There's a couple innocent victims out of that one.
Been given permission to tow because he's pulled it right up beside an opening in the wall where marshals in the real world would be able to pull the car away. Tell you what, this is on for the lead here. Burke is applying the blowtorch to Belle Albert, and Albert is not finding this easy in the slightest little bit of a touch.
Oh, Wayne Burke had to gather it up too. That's increased the gap between our leaders, but... wow, Berkey is right on it here. You can see how quickly he's going. Unfortunately, we have another black flag situation. This time for Dylan Shepherd. That's for contact with Corey McFarlane on lap 5. That was the second lap after the restart. And These two really pushing it at the front of the field, aren't they? Shepherd immediately comes in the background to serve his penalty there. And that should just be a drive through pit lane. Yes, it is. So now, thanks to that little coming together between between Albert and Burke, Wayne now has to put in the hard yards to catch back up to Beau. And we've seen this season that once Albert gets a little bit of a gap in the lead, there's rarely much a driver can do to stop him. But the Pro-Am lead is still on. Look at this. Ben Pedersen on the back of Corey Lazarus, who hasn't quite been able to keep pace with the top two. Pedersen pushing just as hard as Burke is, if not a little more.
Trying to find the limit of the car, isn't he? He's trying to find absolutely everything in it. It's pushing a bit too hard.
Here's the onboard. See how it went. Oh, wow. The rear's just spun up there on the exit of turn 4. And car number 15. There's Isaac Edwards having some trouble. He's been knocked about a bit as of recent. But he ends up escaping any action for some contact with car 18 of Tyson Hanma on lap 5. Wayne Burke has started to catch back up to Beau Albert, hasn't he? And Albert is playing a bit of chicken with the walls around here. Going to have to take some care. Burke is right on the back of him once again. And that was quite the gain from Wayne Burke. He managed to get 4/10 back on Beau Albert. Seems on pace at the moment. Burke is the one to beat, and he might be able to win this race if he can pull off a pass.
Fastest lap of the race, that previous lap from Burke as well. So, yeah, as you said, 4/10 of a second, and found most of it right at the end of the lap too. So very, very nice work from Wayne Burke to find some time. A little bit of shuffling within the drop bear cast in this group. 3 of them all together as Ben Johnson lets Corey McFarlane through. Tyson Broad leading the group, because runner-up in the Pro-Am class last season. He's a little bit back. He's leading the championship at the moment, but 6th in class at the moment. So that's a long way back from where he would like in regards to this championship fight.
Yeah, that's a shame, but still plenty of this season to go. Plenty can change. And Beau Albert here is currently the man everyone wants to beat, being so far ahead in the pro class and overall championships. Burke right on the back of him once again as they come to the end of the lap. You can see from these onboards just how aggressive Burke is on the brakes. He's able to gain a little bit more grip out of slowing down than Albert is, but on the exits, Beau streaks away again. So Wayne, I think, has to concentrate on the exit of turn 2 here if he wants to have a go at passing Albert, because turn 3 is the best overtaking opportunity, and they are pretty much level on the way out of the corner. Burke gets slightly better momentum. Albert going defensive. Will he be able to keep the position from here? Burke is on the racing line where the rubber is, but Beau's able to pull it up. It does go slightly deep. Burke might be looking for the switch back here. No, he can't do it, but they remain bumper to bumper as Burke goes all the way over the curb. Careful not to pick up a slowdown there. I think he has.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, he definitely has. So too aggressive over the curb, and that'll give the little bit of a breather that Beau Albert would have been hoping for. 10-second penalty for Alan Dawson for contact with Martin Lofthouse on lap 7. Seen Aiden Coote. Oh, this could be a safety car here. That car is destroyed. Is he going to be able to bring it back? No doubt there'll be a mechanical black flag incoming for that car.
Looks like it is driving reasonably straight, though.
Somehow.
So, yeah, Aiden will be able to bring that back to the pits.
It's driving straight, but it definitely isn't.
No, absolutely not. Look at this fight here for 3rd overall in the lead of the Pro-Am class. Thomas Hinz has caught up to the back of Corey Lazarus and Ben Pedersen. Will he be able to be a cat amongst the pigeons the way Dylan Shepherd was a couple of laps ago? As things stand, Pedersen is concentrating quite a bit on Corey Lazarus. So I think Hinz is going to be at the back of his mind.
Background there, Gordon Ramsay losing spot there to Corey McFarlane. May lose another one here. Sean Linsell comes through and actually has lost another one to Tyson Broad as well. So he's just lost 3 spots in one corner. Linsell in the wall.
Oh, no. And Linsell second in the Pro-Am Championship. That is a huge loss of points once again for him. He does manage to get it back going, but might the damage be too great for him to continue? Further confusion as Lincel gets going.
It's Dawson around.
And Dylan Shepherd involved in that as well.
I can tell you what started that is actually Gordon Ramsay's picked up a mechanical black flag. So he's hit the wall, and that's checked up the field as he's been trying to regather after that issue. So that's where the calamity started. It's at turn 11, I think it's turn 12, sorry. Hit the wall on the outside here, bang, damages the rear suspension and the whole left-hand side of the car. And then he's just checked up that group behind us. He's trying to bring the car home in one piece.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to bring that in. I think you get a maximum of 3 laps to get a mechanical black flag
could be in a little bit of
cleared.
trouble there.
He could be. Just went into turn 1, and Lincel had to make the corner. That's unfortunate. I'm saying that a lot tonight.
Unfortunate? Yeah, there's been a lot of unfortunate incidents, hasn't there? Also,
quite a few.
Seeing race controllers given a warning to Kobe Williams in the 994 for safety car restart procedure issue. So he'll have to make sure that he does the right thing on the next restart when there is one, because I think tonight's proven that we're going to see the safety car again. So get a penalty if he doesn't behave himself next time around. While we've been watching all of the other calamity going on, Ben Pedersen did lose a spot to Thomas Hinds, and Lazarus Hinds have both checked out from this group now as Pedersen's trying his best to hold on.
Yeah, that's Mikey Howanich behind him in car 69. They've also got Sam Sproul and Zach Kerr fighting over spots behind them too. Looks like a good run from Howanich. Pedersen's going to have to go defensive, and seems that he's picked up damage to the right-hand side somewhere. Narrow into turn 7 is not great, but he manages to hold on to the position, and there we go. Tyson Broad, black flagged for the contact with the 554 of Sean Lincel just a few moments ago.
That's huge for the championship as well. Remember, the championship leader versus his championship rival, or one of his championship rivals, and there's contact that puts one in the fence. So, yeah, I mean, no surprise that the penalty has come there. There was a very, very late lunge. Broad is going to pay the price. Lincel will continue on, but how damaged is his car to bring it home? And how many spots did he lose out of that? He probably lost 7 spots on track, 6 spots on track. In class, he's also lost a couple as well. So we'll see where actually this rejoin here from Broad, it's actually not going to be too far away.
Yeah, not too far away at all. But Broad tours through the pit lane at a slow speed, and have a look at that. Howanich around the outside of Ben Pedersen at turn 3, and trying to keep him behind is the 606 of Sam Sproul. Zach Kerr not able to find a way through.
It's very, very close to being able to get through, but didn't quite get the move done. Kerr 8 outright 5th class. Get some more positions forward in this one before the end of the race. Remembering they start where they finish in this one for race number 2 coming up next. Only a couple of laps away from the end of this one though, Reece. It is, even though we've had 2 safety car periods and we've nearly hit the 35-minute time limit, it still feels like it's gone relatively quick.
Yeah, it still does. There's been a lot of action to keep us interested, a lot of talking points as well. Championship fights and drivers and rivals coming together. Penultimate lap begins for Beau Albert. He's managed to gain a little bit more time on Wayne Burke this time. They've been very closely matched though. But there is no battle for the lead at the moment, as you can see.
That slowdown's been the only difference between the two, really, hasn't it?
Yeah,
slowdown
it
cost
really has
Burke
been.
Maybe 8-9 tenths of a second. That's 1.2 second difference between the two drivers at the moment. They're very evenly matched. I mean, look at the last lap time. There's nothing between them. A couple of hundredths. That's been like that for the last 5 laps.
It's been great. Very closely matched, and an awesome fight between these two.
How good's race 2 going to be?
Oh yeah, if only they were a little closer here, but we might get that in race 2. Stefan Lawrence lets our leaders by. And If you want some news on the AM Championship leader, Stephen Tonkin, well, it looks like he managed to rejoin the session, but he picked up a mechanical black flag somewhere and is still in the pits, so that's a confirmed retirement for Stephen Tonkin and a bit of a leg up for his AM class rivals.
Seeing if I can find exactly where he got that black flag. Because,
his last lap was lap 8.
Yeah, I can see where he's picked it up. So I think it's been a technical issue for him as opposed to a network issue. So you watch this race. This was his lap 8, just before he had his technical issue. So he's just gone straight ahead to the fence.
Oh.
And then he's blinked out. So I'm thinking he's had a PC freeze, or he's had a pedal failure, or something like a power surge within his equipment. There's something strange going on there, and obviously he might have just pressed the button to turn it off.
Yeah, well, the wheel didn't turn. He went straight on, so maybe it was an issue with his steering wheel disconnecting. Not too sure. Either way, we have a post-race drive-through for Dylan Shepherd for contact with Dawson back on lap 16. Unfortunately, Dylan Shepherd has not been able to escape the steward's ire this round. It has just been a very tough round for the number 43, and here's how it happened. It was
when Linto was recovering.
Yeah, and, Shepherd made contact with Dawson and then thought he could find a way through on Dawson's right, but Alan was still recovering. All right, final lap for our leaders, and Bo Albert holding on to it by just under half a second from 1.5 seconds from Wayne Burke. All he's got to do is keep it clean to the end, and this is going to be yet another win on the board for car number 1, reigning champion of the AOG Porsche Cup and continuing his magnificent run in these cars. Last proper corner, all he's got to do is go up through the gears and keep it flat to the line, and Bo Albert is your winner of race 1 at Belle Isle. But Wayne Burke really gave him a run for his money there. Corey Lazarus, it looks like he's going to hold on for 3rd overall and the win in the Pro-Am class. Congratulations to Corey there. Hins and Howanich will round out the top 5. And David Clark has found his way into the lead of the AM class. Looks like he's going to come across the line in 12th place overall. Fantastic job.
Yeah, great effort from him. And it'll be interesting to see. Remember, Shepherd that got the 15-second penalty or the 10-second penalty early on as well. So going to get shuffled a long way back. No, sorry, Tyson Hamner was the driver that got the 10-second penalty. So it'll be interesting to see when things are said and done, how the actual official results end up. We'll have provisional results on screen very soon. Bo Albert, another race, another win.
Yep, and that is the story of his season so far. Race 1 at Jerez, or was it race 2? Was the only blip so far in his results, but he still finished 2nd in that one. And the celebrations begin for our leader, at least the first half, depending on whether or not he can come across the line to win race 2. Here are your results then. Albert and Burke, 1st and 2nd, with Lazarus completing the podium. Hins, Howanich, Pedersen, Sproul, Kerr, McFarlane and Johnson will round out your top 10.
And they ended up with 4 Pro-Am drivers in that top 10. Williams in 11th. Winner of AM is David Clark in 12th, with Alison Linsell 13th and 14th. Dylan Shepherd will drop from that 15th position after the penalty post-race, which will promote Hamner, Clark, Lofthouse, Broad and Jones across the line in the top 20.
Lovely stuff there with Gordon Ramsay coming across the line in 21st. Tim Betts and Isaac Edwards, 2 drivers that suffered a lot of issues there. Alan Dawson recovering to 24th after his contact with Bo Albert. Patrick Harding is the last driver to finish on the lead lap. He survived, and that is good. Unfortunately, not surviving as well. Josh Lane a lap down, Joshua Van Treek 2 laps down, Lawrence 3 laps down, and then confirmed retirements for Simon Mazzomo and Steve Tonkin. And Hayden Veld out on lap 1. That is heartbreaking for the Synergy number 53, who started bang in the midfield. Well, warm-up is on, and we're going to take a moment to step aside here on SimSpeed TV. You are watching the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup presented by Bowler Media, the 5th round here at Belle Isle.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You're watching SimSpeed TV. It's round 5 at the AOG Porsche Cup presented by Bowler Media for 2023. Belle Isle has already resulted in quite a bit of drama in the first of our 35-minute races tonight, and we're expecting more of the same here in race 2. It's later in the day in Sim, and the sun is well and truly out, which means we might see an increase in track temperature. In fact, I will correct myself and say that it's actually gone down.
It's gone the next day.
We have indeed. Oh, there we go. Track temp is 30 degrees Celsius now, so 1 degree up. Bo Albert is going to start on pole position, having won the first race, and Wayne Burke will start alongside him on the front row. It's going to be Corey Lazarus and Thomas Hinz sharing row 2 with Mikey Howanich and Ben Peterson on row 3. In 7th place is Sam Sproul. He's going to start alongside Zach Kerr, who gained well in race 1. Corey McFarlane looking to make up positions, having lost 3 in race 1, starting alongside Ben Johnson, rounding out the top 10.
Toby Williams and David Clark will just go through the top 20 with Alice and Linsell on row 6. Row 7 will be Shepherd and Hamno with row 8. Aiden Coote and Martin Lofthouse rounding out the top 20. Tyson Broad and Ryan Jones, as we're not far off getting a start.
Not far off indeed. And with a slightly warmer track temperature and more sun hitting the racetrack, it might be a bit easier to slide these cars around initially. The revs rise, and we wait for the drop of the green flag. And we're away. Good start from both Bo Albert and Wayne Burke. Unfortunately, Thomas Hinz bogging down as well as Ben Peterson. That results in positions gained for McFarlane and Kerr, with McFarlane going around the outside of turn 1 and has to give room on the exit of turn 2. That's a good start from both of them. Looks like everyone else has managed to get through reasonably safely here in the first couple corners. Wayne Burke having to go defensive versus Lazarus early on, but we'll see when the tyres heat up if he can challenge Bo Albert side by side running. And we got a drop bear car on the wall.
It's Ben Johnson who's in the wall there, and there was another car that made contact there as well.
2 more cars. There's 5 cars off there, and I think one of them is Ben Peterson. He's just managed to get going again.
Oh, after that great race 1. Up-breaking starters. Corey Lazarus, look at the pressure that he's applying here. For Wayne Burke at the front. We've had another big incident back in the field. Ryan Jones is crabbing badly back to the pits, as is Gordon Ramsay. And then at the corner that we all expected incident, it's Corey McFarlane and Mikey Howenich having an issue.
Yeah, oh well, that's
Stuart Ellis now around.
Oh no, and that's on the way down to turns 9 and 10, and that doesn't look good for him. The lap 1 on the verge of completion for our leaders, and it's Albert, Burke and Lazarus up the front. Bo has managed to gain quite a bit on the first corner there, as there's further problems for Hayden Veld. A retirement from race 1. We might be seeing the same here in race 2. That's turn 12, unfortunately. I wonder if there was contact involved there.
Howenich is in the pit. Damage fix. So Jones, Howenich, Ramsey and Betts all with mechanical black flags on lap 1. Chaotic lap 1, but probably not as chaotic as we saw in race 1.
Yeah.
We didn't have a car upside down anyway.
Yeah, this is true, and we've managed to avoid a safety car for the time being, touch wood. I can say that Hayden Veld ended up going off at turn 12 because Simon Mazzomo tapped him in the braking zone, which is not what we want to see. Ryan Jones, also not what we want to see, is a car crabbing like that, and well, Ryan's going to face some issues getting that thing back to the pits. Into turn 7, our leaders come, and Bo Albert is just as aggressive over that turn 7 curb as he's always been, but look at how much Burke has managed to make up the gap already, taking 3/10 out of Albert, and that is quite a magnificent run. Burke obviously couldn't pile the pressure on Bo Albert towards the start, was stymied by being a bit far back in the field and the safety cars as well, but with the pace he's showing, there's a lot to be said here, as that looks like a position lost there for Kobe Williams. Thomas Hinz making his way past, but we know how aggressive Kobe can be. Let's see if both cars end up surviving this one, as Thomas Hinz now focuses his eyes forward. Looks like Ryan Jones has overshot his pit box by a huge margin. I saw him actually gaining some speed in reverse to get back to it.
Has not gone well after he was so happy with being fastest qualifier in Group 1 of qualifying to end up way back in the field, lap down. Still hasn't quite got his car fixed to get back out on track either. Just seen Martin Lofthouse in the pits. Patrick Harding also having some issues too. His car's a little bit bent up. He's still going. It's good to see. Just watch out for that curb though.
Take it easy.
Ooh, just about gets run over by Lofthouse coming out of the pits, but he's got through. Always good.
Yeah, indeed. Well, a bit of damage to the front, which means Harding might be a little off pace hit from here, but the car is still rolling, which is crucial. Isaac Edwards, a little bit further up the road, is facing pressure from Ben Peterson, who is trying his best to recover something from that awful start. And what happened to Peterson was there was no contact. He just overshot the braking zone for turn 3 and had to take to the runoff area, which is why we saw him with all those other cars who ended up crashing into the wall. But you can see how quick Peterson is in comparison to Edwards, nearly running into the back of him.
One thing I heard from a few drivers before the racing started tonight is that One thing that a lot of drivers do is will actually brake too late for a lot of corners, which then causes them to be way too slow through the mid-corner and have no momentum at the exit. So I think a few drivers are getting caught out with some trying to be slow in, fast out, and others just trying to brake what you would think is the traditional braking point. So I think that's what's caught out a lot tonight, and a lot of our incidents have been because of that. Which is also why you see the gaps fluctuating a lot between drivers too.
Yeah, you always have to brake earlier than you think at a street circuit. But I think Wayne Burke up the front will be wanting to brake a little later for turn 6 in the future, because he's hit the inside a couple of times. David Clark and Stefan Lawrence, they're battling for the lead of the AM class, and Lawrence manages to avoid the inside wall at turn 6, but a little too wide, wasn't able to get as straight an exit as he wanted, and so that gives a little bit of an advantage to his rival David Clark, who came away with the win. Sorry, my apologies, I've gotten them completely switched there. It is Lawrence ahead and Clark behind. Well, David Clark, having won the AM class race last time, he is looking to try and get that back, isn't he? And it looks like a clean exit from turn 11 for the 031. And Lawrence with a bit of a technical glitch, unfortunately. Let's hope that doesn't continue, as Josh Lane now having to fend off Stephen Tonkin here, who's the leader of the AM Class Championship. Tonkin retired from the previous race, so he wants a result.
He wants redemption, doesn't he? He needs to try and get himself back into the fight, try and get himself back into the front of the field. He wants to get himself right up there again, but they're struggling to get himself too far forward in this one. Tonkin, I mean, he's gained a few spots. Oh, that's a bit deep there from Lane. Lose a couple of spots, loses 3. Well done from everyone to just shuffle on by him there without causing an incident.
Yeah, that was well played by everyone involved. So Tonkin now the lead car in this pack, and he's got 2 faster drivers behind him, McFarlane and Mazzomo, who both suffered issues in the opening laps.
And Burke's closed that gap down at the front. It was out to nearly a second when he and Lazarus were battling a few laps ago. It is now down to nothing. Oh, there's been an incident in that group that we were just watching, or just behind that group. Isaac Edwards with all sorts of dramas.
That's been the story of his night so far, hasn't it? Isaac, he does try hard, but just unfortunately, it seems his brake pedal wasn't quite up to scratch on the way into turn 5.
So he's struggling a little bit with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that incident took out Benjamin Johnson as well. Isaac went into the rear of him, and Johnson just hit side on the tyre bundle. Both drivers managed to get going, though, and we focus once again on our leaders. Wayne Burke with the slipstream on Beau Albert down the straightest section of the whole racetrack. And it's in this section where Burke tends to gain a lot of time. Does play hard and fast with the track limits through this section, but watch out for turn 6. He's hit this inside wall a couple of times, and there it is again.
He just clobbered it just enough to unsettle the car, didn't he? He just he's going to hold on for now, but he's lost 2.5 tenths just from that little wall scrape. Didn't hit it like we saw earlier when we saw Dylan Shepherd hit it. Hit it hard enough that lost a lot of momentum and almost put it in the outside wall.
Yeah, and I think if it weren't for that, he'd be a lot closer to Albert and probably attempting more passes. Because that turn leads on to the back stretch, which, you know, is effectively a straight, because you don't need to take your foot off the throttle for any corners there, the right and the left sweepers. But yeah, he's just losing momentum at a really crucial spot on the track, and then he has to work so hard to catch up to Albert again. Looks like Dylan Shepherd passed Kobe Williams there into turn 12, and that looked like a nicely completed move from my perspective. It was just a straight up out braking, and Williams gave him room on the inside. Well done from both of them, especially at a corner with no runoff.
So there's a little bit of respect out there from those drivers to give each other enough room to make sure that they can make the pass clean. We'll wait and see if there's any potential overtakes here. Linsell thinking about a move. No, backs out of it. This is the overtake. Just better exit out of turn 11. Gets the run down that short chute into 12. Job from Williams there to go, well, there's no point me fighting that one. Nice move.
I am 100% in agreement there. And, oh no, that's further issues for Josh Lane. 4th in AM right now. Oh, yeah. It looks like just maybe outbraking himself and going into the tyre bundles on the outside, which you really got to watch out for when you're going through that corner. If you run even a little bit wide through turn 3, you're likely going to at least have a glancing blow. Cowanich, who had a spin in the opening laps, still trying to recover positions. He's behind Stuart Ellis, who's also had a bit of a patchy night. Lane just up ahead of these guys and might be a little bit off pace with the damage that he's gained and the disruption to his flow from his incidents. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Oh. Opportunistic from Mikey Howanich to make his way through on Stuart Ellis there, thanks to that incident. And, well, the positions are now swapped between them, with Ellis gaining some damage to the front bumper.
Oh, Linsell around, and there's been contact with Williams.
Oh, no.
I've just
Williams
seen
stopped.
Ben Pedersen and Isaac Edwards both receiving black flags for incidents, but I think we are going to see a safety car here because Kobe Williams is crabbing bad. I don't think he's going to be able to bring this back to the pits.
Yeah, Linsell recovers, slots in behind Pedersen. Now, will Williams be able to make the corner here? Yes, he will. But the steering is very bent. He's got a lot of turns to make his way through. Here's how it happens. So Linsell behind Williams here. Was this a mistake from Kobe? It looks like it.
Oh, he's hit the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Linsell, an innocent victim there. Williams offline on the way into turn 2 and just understeered into the exit wall.
Linsell's had so much bad luck this race, hasn't he?
Yeah, Belle Isle giveth and Belle Isle taketh away, and it's taken just about everything from Sean Linsell this time.
So, race controller finally been able to update us with what's going on out on track. 10-second time penalty for Lawrence for an incident with Betts on lap 1. Also from lap 1, a 15-second time penalty to Howanich for contact with McFarlane. Saw Lazarus there making a move, but that was him actually overtaking a car of, I believe that was Isaac Edwards, who's recovering.
Yeah, unfortunately received a penalty, did Isaac Edwards, for that contact we saw with Benjamin Johnson a little earlier. And a little bit of shuffling as Kobe Williams makes his way into the lane. LS Johnson and Lofthouse all gaining spots out of that. It looks like Williams has been able to make his way back to the pits, and we stay green as Isaac Edwards now has to lift off to let drivers go. And that's the battle pack of Sam Sproul, Zach Kerr and Thomas Hinz that have just made their way through on him. Sproul's had a pretty good night, hasn't he? Very consistent there in car 606. Started 9th for race 1, finished 7th, and is now up to 4th in race 2.
Yeah, he's done really well. He should be very, very happy with how he's gone in this one. Right on cue, we got an incident for Aiden Cooper. He's going to recover.
Easy does it on the re-entry.
Tell you what, Stephen Tonkin's up to 3rd in class as well. 13th in class. 13th outright, I should say. 3rd in class. He's done a brilliant job to recover from where he ended up in race 1, out of the race, and with what was obviously a technical issue, he's recovered it and back into the race.
Yeah, good stuff.
Now, lap traffic has not been kind. Bo Albert.
No, it hasn't. And he's also picked up a tiny bit of damage to the front left, and that was on the exit of turn 13. I saw it, just rewound to see it. That's allowed Wayne Burke to draw up to the back of him once more, but now we get to Burke's cursed corner, turn 6. Will he be able to stop himself from hitting the inside this time? Yes, he will. And the lap traffic here of Patrick Harding will lift off and let them go. The battle for the lead is on now. And we are only halfway through this race.
This is the closest Burke's been into this braking zone for a long, long time as well. So, a crack starting to appear in Bo Albert. Is he going to be able to hold on? Did hear him say after that race he was really happy with what we're seeing, that Burke had some great pace and they had a really good battle there. So, and he agreed with the thing I said around that that slowdown penalty was literally the difference between the two of them in that race. So now Burke back into the fight. This is going to be absolutely on. We've still got 10 laps to go. We've still got half a race.
This is fantastic. Burke's been able to keep in touch with Beau in the slipstream despite Albert's better exits, and exit of turn 2 is a very crucial point. Burke loses out a little bit on the entry but gains slightly back on the exit. Here comes the defensive line from Beau Albert. He sticks all the way to driver's right, moves back out middle of the road to widen the entry to turn 3 as much as he can. Burke's stuck on the outside. He has to yield that one, and Albert parks it on the apex, stays tight as well to keep Burke from getting by.
Great little battle. This is brilliant to watch. How much more of the road that Burke is using than Albert as well. It's incredible how much more road Burke is using, and that's just meaning that the pressure is starting to gain on Beau Albert. No further action for the incident between Linsell and Kobe Williams. No real surprise there because Kobe did cause the incident.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that was a little bit deep there for Burke through turn 7. Nearly hit the tyre barrier on the outside, but keeps it going. Now, into this corner, we'll see a bit of a difference between the two, I think. Well, we did last lap, but not that time. Albert, I think, has developed a bit of a habit of running deeper into those slower corners than Burke is, and looks like an issue here for Ben Peterson. Front end contact with a spin out of turn 8.
Ever since I said he's the MVP of the night, he's had a shocker. I apologise.
That's the biggest commentator's curse I've seen in a while. Shame on you, Jay. But
I try not to commentate.
We have 9 laps to go in this one. Burke's lost out a tiny bit to Albert over the course of that last lap. 31.186 for Beau Albert on the last lap. 31.373 for Wayne Burke. And not quite close in to turn 3. Let's see how the exit is onto the backstretch from here. Again, this is one of the places where Burke gains a lot of time. Just manages to get it to the inside a little sooner than Albert does, and carries some great momentum as well. But they both have little dings and dents on their cars from slight contact with the wall, which really tells the story of how hard they're pushing. Meanwhile, Corey McFarlane gets into 11th, having passed David Clark, and that's a problem for Zach Kerr. He was running incredibly well, but now stopped. Thomas Hinz versus Dylan Shepherd still might have happened in that vicinity.
Just trying to work out exactly how this has happened, and Hinz has been involved because he was a little bit ahead. So it's Kerr, he's following Sproul, hit the inside wall, hits the outside wall, and Hinz nowhere to go. That explains why Hinz was so slow.
Yeah, well, Dylan Shepherd's worked his way past Thomas Hinz as a result of that, and it seems that Hinsey has lost a lot of pace. In fact, he's going for the pit lane. He has gained a mechanical black flag from that contact with Zach Kerr, and Thomas will not be happy with that. Well, happy will be Wayne Burke that he's keeping the pressure on here versus Beau Albert, and I love watching those cars bounce off the turn 4 curb. It's one of the few places around this circuit where you can really monster the curb and get some air on the inside tyres. And it seems that Burke has learned a little bit from past mistakes, kept it out of the wall on the inside of turn 6, but just rubbed up against it on the exit. Still keeps himself within 4 tenths as take it easy into turn 4 here, guys. Couple drop bear cars versus the 052 of Stefan Lawrence. Yeah, Am leader here, and no, that's contact with McFarlane. McFarlane around, and that's almost on the racing line. But the drivers will avoid that.
Started way back at turn 3 here, Reese.
Yeah, so here is
Broad running wide.
oh yeah, that's very wide. And, Oh, okay. That brought McFarlane right into it. The Drop Bear teammates, unfortunately, sort of interfering in each other's races a little there. McFarlane tried round the inside of Lawrence. And I think just, yeah, it looks like Lawrence might have just turned in when McFarlane hadn't fully made his way past. Don't know if that's worth a penalty or not, but have a look at Wayne Burke here on the rear bumper of Beau Albert. Incidentally, where the engine is, you want to avoid running into the rear of someone or being run into in these cars, because all the crucial components of the car are at the back. Seems that they've avoided that for the time being. 7 laps to go, and Burke shows no signs of slowing down. But there is always that ever-present danger of a slowdown if Burke pushes too hard. That's been Beau Albert's strength, not just having better pace than just about everybody else, but also staying out of trouble, which has proven quite difficult to do this season.
Yeah, he's been the one driver within the entirety of the field that's just kept it clean and kept it composed. I'm sure if we look back at the incident counts for every race, he'd have one of the lowest, if not the lowest count of the lot. So that was rather close for Berkey, though. He's well and truly pushing it. He's making sure that there's nothing left in the tyres by the time we get to the end.
Oh, wow. Okay, then. 6 to go now, but Burke's run a little deep in turn 1. Yeah, he gives up more time through turn 2, but Albert gets into the wall on the exit. Equal mistakes from both cars, and it will be net 0 between them now. Burke a bit late on the brakes here for turn 3. No, he's managed to pull it up.
Just.
Well, here it is. Albert just whacking the wall there.
I think he hit it fairly square on, so I think he should be okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have a mechanical black flag from what I can see. And doesn't look like much in the way of suspension damage. Let me just check his cockpit view here.
It's okay.
Hard to tell. Hard to tell. Maybe like half a degree or something of right hand down.
He's got any, it's very, very minimal, and it's not affected by the looks of things at this stage.
You can't really tell around the circuit because there's just so many corners.
Even the straights, you're not holding the wheel straight. Well, that's deep from both drivers there, but they both pulled it up somehow, and Albert was actually able to get a bit of momentum out of that corner. This is a great fight to watch.
I'm absolutely loving this. Through 11, 12 and 13, it seems like both of them keeping it consistent, but Albert's struggling with oversteer a bit now on the exit of turn 13, and you've got to be aggressive on the throttle there because you have the whole run to turn 1 to worry about. Rounding up the exit of turn 2 nicely for the both of them. They both stay well away from the wall this time, but Burke with the slipstream once again. Same story as a few times before, and he's late on the brakes again. That's where the rubber is on the racing line, and they side by side on the exit. This is going to be difficult through turn 4. Will Albert yield? Burke goes wide and onto the marbles, and Albert takes the lead back, but Burke is going to continue to try and push it here. It might be a switchback on the exit of turn 6 that does it. He's going to hold it. He's going to hold it. They almost bang wheels, and Burke gets the better exit and into the lead.
Wow, what an overtake. It took 5 corners, but he got it done. But this isn't done because Albert's going to come back here. But is there that little bit of damage which has hurt him enough that he won't quite have that momentum and that top speed at the end? This is going to be absolutely brilliant. We've still got 4.5 laps of this to go.
Oh, this is fantastic. What will turn 11 hold for the fortunes of both of these racers, both very experienced sim racers, Wayne Burke and Beau Albert. They've been around the community for many years. They've raced against each other many times.
Moment behind race. This is 3rd place. Lazarus, have a look at this. This has just happened.
On the exit of turn 6. Oh no.
Held it.
Oh, yeah, got on the brakes, locked up the wheels and saved it only just. But now Wayne Burke is in the lead. We've seen what his 1-lap pace is like, and Albert gets into the wall again on the exit of turn 2. I think things might be falling apart here for our championship leader.
Potentially. I mean, in saying that, he might be just content, oh, well, I'll just take another second and consolidate championship points. Remembering that drop rounds will start to come into effect after tonight as well. So, look at the damage to the front right of that car as there's a big mistake lock-up at the front left there for Burke. These guys are still pushing pretty hard considering they're so far ahead of everyone else.
Mikey Howanich, meanwhile, with the fastest lap.
Just wants a bit more attention back his way.
Down in 15th. I mean, well, yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, Howanich has top 10 pace, doesn't he? So, you know, maybe he's finally found a bit of clear air.
Mechanical black flag, Bo Albert.
Oh, no!
Mechanical black flag, car 1.
Oh, wow.
So that second hit in the wall.
That's huge. That's huge. So this is what did it.
Oh, this is an overtake here. This is Shepherd getting through after a mistake from Sam Sproul. He just pulled it up.
Ooh, good stuff there from both drivers to avoid them. But Bo Albert now pulling into the pit lane to get that mechanical black flag sorted out. And this is what undid it for the championship leader. He had already hit the wall like that once. And this second time, that's what unfortunately cooked the front right. And, well, he gets the fast repair done, does Bo Albert, but he will fall into 5th spot.
Third in class, 5th outright. And, yeah, this is huge. I mean, the positive for him is he's had such a great start to the championship. Burke stopped! Burke's in the wall.
No! Both of our leaders facing
Burke's
issues.
got a mechanical black flag now.
Oh, and just like that, Corey Lazarus goes into the overall lead. Burke's suspension is too damaged to continue.
Wowee. Just when the pressure had got to Bo Albert, I think he's realised, well, he's just hit the wall on the outside. Did he blow the motor there? I think he has. He's blown the motor.
Oh, no. Oh, no. The car's still moving there. So I think that little hit, yeah, that hit to the right-hand side on the way into the corner, I think, damaged the suspension and means that he can no longer keep that car straight. What an amazing turn of events here. This is the onboard. Let's check it out. One hit. Oh, yeah, that's where it happened. You can see he can't turn left.
Got to the exit of turn 4 that had the wall. So after all of that, Lazarus now leads. We might see another Pro-Am winner this series. It's been a while, but we might.
2 laps to go for Corey Lazarus.
It's not over. That's the thing we're going to remember. It's not over. We've seen plenty tonight.
We have, yeah. But having said all of that, Lazarus has 5 seconds over Dylan Shepherd in the background there, and Bo Albert, having gotten his mechanical black flag out of the way, is gaining on Shepherd and Sproul by quite some margin. 131.5 for Shepherd, 31.4 for Sproul, and, well, Bo Albert is racing like it's qualifying here. He wants to try and get back onto the overall podium, but will he be able to do it with only 1.5 laps left in the race?
Stefan Lawrence sitting in 7th outright as an AM driver in a 31 car field.
That is amazing.
Unbelievable.
Also saw that Aiden Coote has gotten by Thomas Hins in quite a fight, actually.
Oh, wow.
Look at this. 5 cars, and Coote is having some trouble keeping Hinsey behind here. Gets on the throttle.
No surprise he's having trouble with the damage that he's got.
Yeah, this is the fight for the final position in the top 10. Will Coote be able to defend from Hinsey here? Only just. Side by side on the way into turn 7. But Hinsey gets the inside for turn 8, and Coote going wide almost opens the door for Sean Linsill as well. Alan Dawson and Mikey Howanich in with this fight as well. But across the line for Corey Lazarus, he's now on the final lap of the race. Hinsey completes the move on Coote, and Bo Albert, fastest lap of the race. He wants to try and at least get Sproul by the end of this one. Hinsey hits the wall, Linsill hits the wall. There probably isn't a car out here that hasn't had at least one bit of contact with the concrete. And the gap's under 5 seconds now for the lead of the race. But looks like if Lazarus can keep it together, if he can keep it out of the barriers, he might just be able to come away with this. Belle Albert, meanwhile, trying to get an overall podium back here, try and preserve some championship points. Not that he needs to, he's so far ahead, especially now with Wayne Burke out of the picture, retired, thanks to his mechanical black flag. It's all going to be on here in the final sector. See how hard Albert is pushing to try and pass Sam Sproul. Don't know if he'll be able to get it done here, though. Meanwhile, last acceleration zone for Corey Lazarus. What an incredible run it has been here from car number 4. He'll take the Pro-Am win. He'll take the overall win in the second race here at Belle Isle. Fantastic stuff.
In contact between Lawrence and Broad, and Lawrence is now through into 6th outright, although Broad gets it back. But congratulations to Dylan Shepherd, who gets the win in Pro, and Stefan Lawrence is going to pick up the win in M with his 7th outright.
Magnificent performances from quite a few drivers this round. And Bo Albert there, managing to finish 4th. We thought it was all over for him, but he managed to recover very nicely. But Corey Lazarus for Blackout Motorsport NZ will enjoy the spoils of victory in race 2 here in virtual Detroit. And it all came down to his consistency. You know, he not only has he been right on the pace all night, but finishing 3rd in race 1 and winning race 2, he has been the textbook example of keeping it out of trouble, like I mentioned before.
100% he has. He's done a brilliant job in regards to keeping it clean, keeping it out of trouble, keep managed, keeping the composure. Ever since the start of qualifying, he's done a brilliant job, because remember, he was actually out qualifying Bo Albert on those laps early on for quite a bit. So congratulations to him. Absolutely well-deserved win for him tonight in this race. Sure, it probably not the way he would have wanted to take the win, but doesn't mean that it's any less deserved.
Yeah, Bo Albert congratulating him with a little nudge there on the way out of turn 8. And the drivers will make their way back to the pits from here, and we can start our post-race conduction here with the results. Corey Lazarus by 3.5 seconds over Dylan Shepherd. That is a Pro-Am win there, with Pro finishing 2nd. Sam Sproul will complete the podium, with Bo Albert recovering to finish 5.2 seconds behind. Tyson Hanmer and Tyson Broad will come home 5th and 6th, with Stefan Lawrence winning the AM class, as you said, Jay, with 7th overall. Magnificent stuff. And shout out to David Clark as well, who finishes 9th behind Simon Mazzomo. 2nd in the AM class as well, making it into the top 10, along with Thomas Hins.
There we go, back to Aiden Coote and Sean Linsell. They had a good battle all the way to the end as well, but Coote picked up the position from Linsell in the end. Howmanich, Tonkin, and Ben Johnson round out the top 10. Stuart Ellis in top 15. Stuart Ellis in 16th. Martin Lofthouse in 17th position. But Alan Dawson, Gordon Ramsay, and Ben Pedersen. Pedersen with a race to forget, and I apologise for putting the absolute commentator's curse on him in that.
Well, he still is the last finisher on the lead lap. Patrick Harding comes home a lap down. Tim Betts 2 laps down. Wayne Burke retiring from the race after his contact with the wall and after threatening Bo Albert for victory all night. Josh Lane classified 24th. Corey McFarlane, Zach Kerr retiring as well as Isaac Edwards, Kobe Williams, Hayden Bell, Joshua Van Treek, and Ryan Jones, who couldn't even make it past the end of lap 1. What a shame there for Ryan. And what a shame for quite a few drivers here tonight, but the opposite of shame. In fact, a lot of pride on hand here for Corey Lazarus, who I believe is joining us here in the commentary box. Corey, do you have us? All right, we'll get back to him very shortly and wait here for a couple other drivers to come in for their interviews. But I think a really awesome night of racing all up here, Jay. Belle always turns it on. It's why I like it so much as a commentator and as a driver as well. Pleasure to drive, pleasure to watch racing around.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome track, awesome event. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, the racing that it always provides. It does spread fields out very, very quickly, but I think the battles that we saw all the way to the end, they're made up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm here we go. Yes, okay. So we've gotten some correction. It is David Clark who is joining us in the comms box. Our apologies for that one, David. But I think that a night that you can be very happy with. That's the AM class win in race 1 and second in race 2, finishing in the top 10 here at Belle. Pretty good night.
Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked with that. I'm pumped. So it's good to get one up on the teammate as well. So that's always good. He's been winning too much, so it's good to get one back.
Yeah, for sure. It all came down to, well, some would say the luck of the draw, but really, you need more than luck to survive this circuit, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. It's the toughest one so far, I think, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, so I can't wait for next round. So.
Yeah, neither can we. It's going to be a fantastic season to come. But yeah, do you think that this is going to set the stage for the rest of your season? Do you want to try and get one up on Steve at the rest of the races here?
I hope so, man. I hope we can keep this momentum going forward. I think he had a little bit of hardware issues tonight, so that's a bit unfortunate for him. But I'll take it. I'll take it any way I can get it. I'm going to need to with him. He's super quick, but yeah, hopefully moving forward, we're up there with him.
All right, well, hopefully we get another chance to talk to you next round at Road America. Before we let you go, David, anyone you'd like to thank for your results tonight?
Yeah, thank the JWM boys, Brewed Coffee, Tough Customs, TCR Fabrication, and TW Engineering. Yeah, thank you very much. And SimSpeed and AOG, it's really well run and yeah, awesome.
Thanks very much for joining us, David Clark. And we can also take an opportunity to talk to our overall winner in race 2 here, Corey Lazarus, joining us here. Big congratulations there, Corey. Again, it was all about survival here at Belle, and you survived better than most.
Hey, thanks very much, guys. Yeah, it was definitely a big surprise, but absolutely ecstatic, absolutely.
Yeah, as you should be. Podiums in both races for the most part, or for that matter, I should probably say, brain on autopilot there, but no need for autopilot around this place, all down to the driver. Were you surprised at how pacey you were here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, still a long way to go to catch anywhere near those two front guys, but yeah, I mean, we put a little bit of practice into it during the week with the guys that we usually drive with, and we sort of knew where our lap time should be, and yeah, it sort of prevailed through the race. So sort of expected to be around that lap time. I don't know about where we were hoping to be finishing, but yeah, stoked, mate. It was an awesome race.
Yeah, we could see it from all of the adventures that you were having around there. It's a very bumpy circuit here as well. Very difficult to actually go fast around here and be consistent with how much this track throws at you. So what kind of preparation did you put in for this?
More quali runs, really. Just knowing how tight it is, how hard it is to pass. So we did a lot of low fuel runs during the week, trying different setups, just because we knew if we could qualify somewhere up the front, there would be less chance of the chaos which ensued, and that sort of happened. So yeah, she's a tricky track, she's bumpy, and not a lot of room to move.
Well, for the next round, we go to the polar opposite. Road America is up next on the 2nd of May. Are you hoping to repeat some of your results here?
Always hoping, mate, but expectations low and hope is always high. Just trying to stay in front of Tyson and Sean, really, because that's who we're battling for in the championship. And yeah, if we can finish somewhere up in the front, then puts us in good stead.
Under promise and over deliver is the right philosophy to go for. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Corey. Who would you like to thank for your win?
Yeah, firstly, the sponsors you can see in my car, the guys from Astute Finance at East Brisbane, for putting some faith into us. Without them, wouldn't even be here. So those guys and my teammate Samuel Sproul, Blackout Motorsport NZ, and also all the guys from AOG, awesome bunch of fellas. So thanks very much.
Well, thanks very much to you, Corey Lazarus, for joining us for an interview. Well, Jay, that brings to an end proceedings for tonight as Corey Lazarus's donuts continue into the distance. As I mentioned, we race at Road America for the next round. One of our favourite tracks here at SimSpeed. It's going to be fantastic.
100%. We're going to have an absolutely amazing night of racing next time out in this series when we head to Elkhart Lake. I'm looking forward to it. Just while I'm scrounging here, trying to double check the format for next round. It is triple sprint next round, so 3 8-lap races back to back. That'll be very, very interesting. Very, very short, sharp racing.
Yes, looking forward to that one. You'll be able to catch that on Tuesday, May the 2nd at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern. We've got all kinds of racing coming up on SimSpeed TV. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel for upcoming live streams and follow us on the socials as well. We're on Twitter and Facebook and Twitch as well. Congratulations to our winners tonight, Beau Albert and Corey Lazarus, and big thanks to Aussie Online Gaming for putting the series on and having us on to broadcast it and bring it to the world. You've been watching round 5 of the AOG Porsche Cup presented by Bowler Media here at Belle Isle. I'm Reese Gardner, Jay Kennedy behind the scenes, and with me in the comms box. We'll see you next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.